This is the Tyre Kickers, classic car chat with Max and Matt.
Welcome to episode 59 of the Tyre Kickers, and we're out on the road. We've jumped into our classics and come here to the Winchester Auto Barn.
Yes, it's a new classic car destination just outside London with cars, coffee, food and more. We'll check out the showroom stock here and kick about this episode's hot topics.
The Tyre Kickers podcast in partnership with Footman James.
Coming up, we ask, how much is too much? Is there a cut-off price when you stop enjoying and start worrying about your classic car?
Plus, what does your classic car say about you? Did you buy that sports car because of the midlife crisis, or is it more complex than that? We go deep, we go scientific.
I have some early results here. Brown Stag, serial killer.
And so do I. Red SL, garden centre visitor.
Plus your reactions to what we've been saying, important updates and the hottest news in the world of classic cars.
Like my broken horn is now fixed.
So let's blast through episode 59 of the Tyre Kickers from here in sunny Hampshire.
The Tyre Kickers podcast with Footman James. We share your passion.
So yes, welcome to the Winchester Auto Barn. We're about an hour from London here in a place called Sutton, Scotland, near Winchester, in the back roads in the countryside, and this is a pretty new classic car destination, Max.
It's a kind of barn with a restaurant, bar, stage, storage, a recording studio, and lots of classic cars. There's also an outside area where you can buy lunch from a Citroen H van and also park up and look at your car and other people's cars.
Yeah, it's a bit of a slow burn, this place, Max. I mean, I only came here for the first time a couple of months ago, and I really like it. It's you know, it's more than a coffee stop. You know, they've got cars that we're sat by. We've got a restaurant. There's a recording studio in the basement. There's a stage. There's just really loads going on, and you can come here for some decent food as well. Some good roads to get here as well.
Very nice roads, and also we're sitting in the showroom. And I'm looking past you, looking at some very nice cars, including a Pagoda here, which I can reach out and touch. 280 SL 1969 Pagoda.
Yeah, that's beautiful, because normally I have to look at your ugly face, but now I've got some cars. I'm sat next to a really nice mint MGB on a T-Reg. There's some expensive cars. There's a beautiful Mercedes convertible over there.
Bentley S2 Continental,
yeah,
that's nice.
It's really nice. To be sat amongst cars is really, really nice, but it's got a really good buzz around this, so you can sort of hear the restaurant in the background. It's a really good place to come and sort of hang out. There's a Citroen H van outside that you can get a bacon roll from as well. It's just got a really good atmosphere. Lots of memorabilia in here. There's an old motorbike behind you, pinball machines, an old AA. You can't see it because it's behind you, but there's an AA phone box. Do you remember those?
Okay, yeah.
You're probably old enough.
I do remember them.
them.
Yeah, exactly. Now, we're going to be looking at the stock later in some live tyre kicking. But first, we wanted to pose a question that's been bugging us for some time. Now, as serial classic car buyers, if you spend more money on a car, do you get more out of it?
Yes, is a cheap MGB, for example, more fun than a 100 grand nut and bolt resto mod MGB?
Or if you're in your 10 grand MGB having fun, do you get envious when, say, an E-Type drives past because you think they might be having more fun?
Yeah, so two things to ponder there, Max. I mean, is a cheap version of a car better because it's less stress and you're worried about it less? And also, are we always kind of thinking that, maybe that car's better than mine, maybe the version that's a bit more, sort of sorted out is better than mine? Do you get that envy that a more expensive classic is maybe 10 times the fun that you're having?
Well, you see, it's an interesting point, isn't it? Because I've always thought that about, are you having the amount of fun that you pay for a car?
Let's focus this in on kind of us, and we're talking about cars, between the sort of 10 and 30 grand sort of section. So say that's what you think a classic car is worth and what you drive, okay?
But I do think even if you had a lot of money, you're still aware that a £100,000 classic car is probably slightly less usable.
Well, yeah, take this Pagoda behind us. That's what I think it's 125 grand, this one, and it's beautiful. It's a resto. Would you park that in Tesco's car park?
No.
I'm not sure you would.
Absolutely not. Because
whereas
a shopping ding on that is going to cost a fortune, isn't it?
Well, yeah. I mean, unless you just got so much money you don't care, but it's so nice and it's so pristine, you wouldn't want to get a ding on it, would you? Whereas my Stag, which is about like 75-80% there, I can risk it, But do I look at this and think this is a nicer car and I have more fun in it? Well, to be honest, yeah, I probably do.
But I came down in my Merc SL, which is the next generation after this Pagoda, the R107 SL, and I was thinking this, would I have more fun if I'd driven down in this Pagoda? Well, possibly I would have thought, it would have looked a bit cooler, but it's probably not quite as quick, it's not quite as reliable, it might have not felt as quite as modern. So would it have been a nicer journey? I don't think it would have.
Well, it would have been slower, as you say, but would you have come here with more style? Possibly. But then, as you say, yours is a pretty sorted car, and it's usable. And we'll get into that's the other thing as well, the usability of something. You're happy to jump in your car now and hit the motorway, aren't you?
Yeah, exactly.
With this, maybe you are, maybe you're not. Maybe you think, maybe I don't want to run it down the M25. Yeah, would I worry about this? If I had this in my garage, I'd be a bit more careful about how I moved around the garage.
That's exactly the point, though. Would you even take it out of the garage? Because you think, it's 125,000, it's a bit risky.
I think you start thinking about its usability, and this is the big issue. We talked on the last show about what car would I get next, and I think there's what you dream about, and then there's the reality of your life.
Right.
But there's also what you dream of doing with the classic car and what you do with it. So with my car, I think that car in the sweet spot. So that's like I pay between like 15 and 20 for that car. So it's kind of in the zone that I care for it. It's in really good condition. But I don't hesitate about taking out and driving it to work.
That's the key point for me, because as soon as you hesitate, I don't think you're having as much fun.
£125,000 car, I'm thinking about where I'm going to park it, Am I going to take it to that pub that might not be able to get in the car park?
Are you even going to let it out of your sight? I'm not sure. I don't think I would.
Not. Yeah, I think so. For me, this would be a worry, although I would love this car. I've got to say, this is probably one of my pin-up cars.
Absolutely. No, I mean, I'd love it, and if I could afford it, I'd buy it. But at the same time, I don't think it's more fun. For example, it's sitting next to an MGB GT, which is a rubber bumper one, a T, which is, 78.
Yeah.
Can you see how much that one is?
Let me go and have a look. Hold on. It's not cheap.
Okay.
Okay, so normally rubber bumper MGB, if it was a bit loved and worn, be about £5,000, £6,000.
Yeah.
This is £15,000.
Okay, top money for a rubber bumper.
So are you going to take this to the supermarket? Are you going to do the school run in this? Maybe.
You see, I think that £15,000 MGB GT, you'd probably use it a lot more than the Pagoda it's sitting next to.
No, that's true. And it's the same value as mine, there or thereabouts. So you probably wouldn't be too precious about it. But then you've suddenly got the best MGB in the country.
Yeah.
And suddenly you become. When people talk about I bought a low mileage classic, and we've talked about this before.
Yeah, you can't drive it.
Well, you can't drive it because you've got neurosis about I can't put miles on it because that's its USP. So that is the difficulty. So that's the one thing. The other thing is this envy thing, and not necessarily. I mean, there's two bits of envy thing. One is when you see a car like yours that's better, and this happened at the weekend. I saw more Stags that are better than mine.
Right.
And so I start going, You start not loving your car quite as much, but you just kind of think it could be so much better.
Okay. If you spend a lot of money on it.
Well, yeah. It's like your podcast co-host. You just think, if I threw some money at it, it could be better,
You could have Gary Davis or something.
Well, you could have someone good. That's all I'm saying.
The problem with that, though, again, is the more money you spend in your Stag, the nicer it's going to be, the less you're going to take it out.
True, but I think the flip side of this is that with your Silver Shadow, you've gone and found one that's a bit more expensive than you wanted to spend because, precisely this reason, you wouldn't have been happy with the one that was, £10,000 because you'd have always seen the one that went by that was better.
And I would have spent £15,000 on getting it up to the standard.
Yeah, and you wouldn't have enjoyed that car because you would have, if it was a bit ratty, you'd have not liked it. So, but coming back to this point that we mentioned at the start of the show, do you still get envious when an E-Type goes past?
Yes, definitely.
Right.
I mean, the idea of being in an E-Type and doing that second to third gear change on a country lane just fills me with joy.
Yeah, but it's all the other bits, though.
Yeah, it is. But then you just think it's an E-Type. It's probably the best car. I've got a personal example from my life I'm going to give you, which if you look on your screen now, there is for sale a 1971 VW Beetle 1300 in burnt orange. Now, at the moment, it's at auction, so it's £3,500. It'll probably go for about £5,000. Now, that is my very first car that I had, burnt orange VW Beetle.
Pretty.
I've told you this story before because there was lots of part exchanges coming in. I robbed all the part exchanges of speakers, and I ended up fitting 16 speakers into one of those Beetles. And I loved it, and I messed around in it, and I broke it, and I started it
Is
again.
this the one the battery fell out of?
Yes, exactly.
Rusted, the battery tray rusted.
So it fell out. So I had a great laugh, and I have really fond memories of that car. Now, I'm going to take you, if you look at your screen now, to a 1966 Porsche.
A 912, yeah?
A 912. Yeah. So effectively...
So you've had one of these, haven't you?
I've had both of these cars.
And this car was a little bit of a... it wasn't a massively 100% enjoyable experience for you, was it?
It wasn't, no, because it just went wrong all the time. But the point I'm making is...
They are pretty.
One was a four-cylinder air-cooled engine. The other was a four-cylinder air-cooled engine. And the 912 did feel and sounded a bit like the Beetle. So here's the point. So the Beetle is £3,500.
Yeah.
The Porsche 912, this one I found for sale is a really nice one, 85,000.
It's the punchline, they're both the same car.
Well, sort
Underneath.
of. Because when you drove them, you kind of think, well, I'm getting the same air-cooled four-cylinder flat four experience from them. But the Porsche, I was too scared to do anything on my own in the car because I thought I'm going to ruin the value.
Yeah.
Whereas the Beetle, I could do it all because it didn't matter. The problem I had with that Porsche 912 is because it was relatively expensive, it was 55,000. I didn't do any work on it myself, and then I took it to specialists and they charged me a fortune. So it kind of ruined the fun, whereas the Beetle, I did everything on it myself, and I loved it. I loved that Beetle in a way I never really loved that Porsche.
You just reminded me of the story. The other reason you didn't like this 912 is when you took it in and they told you the bits weren't original in it.
And it had been raced because they found...
That was it. That car was dead to you.
They found the holes for the racing harnesses, yeah. The thing about the Beetle is I didn't care about it, took it everywhere, piled it full of mates, had a laugh. It was just fun because I didn't care about it. Well, obviously I cared about it because it was my car. But I didn't care about a ding or a dent or a mark or a scratch or even a stone chip. I didn't care.
So I was going to run my son to football training last night in my Stag. I said, jump in the Stag and I'll do it. And eventually, his mum said, I've got to go and do something else. So she went and did it. But that's the point, is that car's usable. I'm not frightened to boot that car because I know it's only worth what it's worth. And actually it's probably, cars like being booted about, don't they? They like it. Whereas if that Stag was a £35,000 Stag, which was the top one you could get, I'm then starting to kind of double. I'm not going to press the loud pedal quite so much. I'm not going to say, actually, if you've got football boots on, you're not coming in my car.
Exactly.
It's all that sort of stuff.
And also, you're going to polish it instead of using it, which is always my problem with classic cars, is that if you end up kind of mollycoddling them, you don't get the fun, which is
garage queens.
Exactly. And once you've got a garage queen, you're thinking, I can't take it out because I've just cleaned it, and I can't do this because of that.
And I think within car models as well, there are fun sweet spots. For example, like Alpha Spiders, I know you like the boat tail, but I wouldn't want a boat tail because to me it's too fragile. I'd rather have the one afterwards, the Series 2, because I know that they're probably about 20 grand. I can run that round, rag it a bit more. Whereas a boat tail, the value is going to be 50 grand, 60 grand. And then suddenly it's a bit, if I do bump the back end of that, it's going to be expensive because nobody's going to want to touch it. Whereas this one, it's probably all right. I could get the bits for it as well. That's the other thing. With cars that are a bit more value, you're then looking at, if I break that bit of trim, it's going to cost me a fortune.
Yeah, you've got to import it from America or something.
Well, so there's all of that really. So this was a long drive to a point, which was, I think, with a car, you don't want to go too cheap because then there's another layer of worry about your car, that it never runs right. You need one that sort of kind of runs right, that's kind of okay, that it's not too flash that you're going to worry about it. But it's in that sweet spot that the car's good, but it's not too precious. You're going to use it, you're going to enjoy it.
I think the final point here is, because we're poor, this doesn't really apply to us, but surely even if you're a multi-millionaire, if you buy your DB5, you're going to be more reluctant to take it out because of the things we've said. Or it's damaged and it'll be a fortune to repair, or you've got to find the parts, or this car is historically important. Whereas with something else lower down the food chain, you don't have that worries. And regardless of how much money you've got, I think that would be quite significant. You would have more fun in a cheaper car.
Well, tell us what you think based on what we've talked about, what you've driven, what you've owned, what classic has given you the biggest smile. That's what we want to know, and which one was a bit of a pain, and what's that to do with the cost of it? You can let us know. Get in touch with the show. We'd love to hear from you, and here's how to do it.
You can find us at the Tyre Kickers UK on Instagram and the Tyre Kickers on Facebook.
Episode 59 from the Winchester Auto Barn, and there's been lots of responses to our subjects from the previous show.
Yes, you'll remember we spoke about whether we need to have daytime running lights on our classic cars after some recent near misses that we had.
Lots of comments on this on our Insta and Facebook feeds. Corb2000 says, after one too many cars pulled out of junctions in front of me, I swapped my Stag's outer dip headlights to ones with LED DRLs. It hasn't happened since that change, interestingly. People register the DRLs, but not the car. That's what we were saying last time.
It was, I saw you shudder when you said LED there, actually. Young boy with an old midget kind of agrees with you. He won't be doing that. He says, just the looks of a classic grab enough attention. There's no need to spoil it with DRLs.
Fair enough. BoyGhoul2020 says, why not just use side lights? Just change the lamps to LEDs and all is good. Well, yeah, kind of idea. I mean, I do use side lamps now. I was driving the Silver Shadow down the M4 and I had my side lights on, just to kind of point it out.
I came off the motorway here and I came to a sort of very shaded bit of road, country road, fast road, 60, and I put my headlights on.
Yeah, I saw them coming in.
Yeah, so I just think it's a safer idea. Rover 2000 TC has the last word on this, agreeing, just slap the side lights on. If it's a dull day, just slap the main beams on.
Disagreement about LEDs, but agreement that we should probably start using our lights more, if only to cut down on insurance claims.
Also, last episode, Max and ChatGPT had a love-in and came up with a very, very comprehensive and slightly autistic list of Prime Minister's cars throughout the decades.
You loved it. You absolutely loved it.
Well,
I love detail. I love car detail like that.
The first 5 minutes I was enjoying. The last 5 minutes I enjoyed as well. No, it was good. Very well researched. The punchline was, though, and this got Max really upset, that after decades of all the British cars that PMs have driven, the current one now drives an Audi.
Yeah, absolutely. Sam, the old car lady on Insta, says it seems wrong, doesn't it? It sends a terrible message. What happened to the likes of Maggie in a Jag, or even John Prescott with his 2 Jags?
Those days are gone. Christopher Stevens says it's an utter disgrace. What's wrong with a Range Rover?
Absolutely, because sometimes they use a Range Rover, so I don't get it. Gentle's Garage offers up the probable reason for the Audi atrocity. He says it's down to the procurement contracts. He says the only British manufacturer that could meet the safety and security standards demanded by the government is the Range Rover. But it's not a current car anymore, and since it's the British PM, security has to be one step ahead. I disagree.
Well, they're overthinking it, I think, potentially. Man Batmobile backs this up, though, Max. He's saying that the Audi A8L, the limousine version of the A8, is offered off the shelf with the required high level of security for a PM, and that's why so many others are just buying them off the shelf and using them across the world.
Disappointing. Gentle's Garage, though, does offer some hope, saying the Audi could be a temporary solution until a new Range Rover or Jaguar, the new electric Type 01 perhaps, that becomes available.
Although the concept car's a big pink car, looked like Thunderbird 1, didn't it? So I can imagine that going up down the street.
Right.
To be fair, it would look cool.
And the last word to listener Mark LaBelle. He sarcastically says they should lead by example. They should make the PM use a ministerial Nissan Leaf. He says they're made in Sunderland. They're always telling us to go electric. See how they like it.
You're listening to The Tyre Kickers with Max and Matt.
Well, what else have we been doing? Well, I went on a Stag Empire cruise, Max. I put this up on our socials over the weekend. 40 stags. Not all of them original, which we've covered before.
But a lot of them weren't quite unoriginal.
No. Actually, some of them were very, very good, actually. It's a good mix of stuff. Well, we've done some stuff from there before, that particular club. They're based in West London. If you look back on our socials, and there's also an episode on it as well where we talk about highly modified stags, which are a very small percentage of them. I would say it's probably 10% highly modified, 40-50% really, really good originals, and then a few sort of little gentle modifications as well. But we took the cars, 40 of them, and we drove, did a cruise to Windsor, and then drove past the castle, way to the King, and just the amount of cars that people stopped. People stopped on the street and looked at all these stags.
Because they saw the resto mods and they thought that's not original. That's what they spotted.
Well, no, they also thought we were all going to overheat. It was about 35 degrees. But I can happily report, not a single car overheated. And just the round of colours. Actually, we were talking about this on the day, actually. I took my mate Lee with me, and we were just talking about, people were literally stopped in their tracks in the streets. Now, it wasn't just all of the cars, it's the fact it was the palette of colours.
Yeah.
And we pulled over at one point. I don't know, we've spoken about colours before in a previous show, but we pulled over at one point just to regroup all these cars. And we looked, and there was a car park next to us with modern cars in it. Grey, black,
yeah,
white,
exactly.
just monochrome. And then us in like pastel, primary colours.
Well, I saw those beautiful yellows. They really stand out
really
on the stag.
pop, and a really sunny day. And so just the sight, I think people were actually stopped in their tracks because they'd not seen colourful
Something
cars for a long
colourful,
time.
exactly, yeah.
It was really, really good. So that was really good. So shout out to the Stag Empire guys. Have a look on our socials. You can see some of the cars. But it has got me thinking about a Stag Resto mod.
What?
Yeah, well, I knew you wouldn't be happy with that.
A what? A resto mod?
A resto mod. There was a Stag like mine, because I've got metallic brown. It's not an original colour. Max might have mentioned it once or twice. And it actually improves the car. There was another one with an even better metallic brown on it, which had been done, and the interior was all quilted leather and stuff. Done really tastefully, really, really nice. Much, much, much better than it would ever have come out of the factory, and I thought, I want it.
What are you going to do to yours then? What would you resto mod?
No,
just
buy
the interior?
that one. Oh, no. Well, the interior's fun because it's 70s and it's waffle vinyl that burns your legs. But actually, if you've got those, when people get the cars retrimmed in leather, they look amazing.
They do look good, and I do think a nice interior retrim is not bad, but as soon as you go down the kind of extra dual speakers and
No, you wouldn't do that. You
lowered
keep it tasteful.
wire wheels.
And a lot of the guys in the club have done this. They've literally just gone and got a really nice paint job and then just improve the interior sympathetically. And that does make the cars look really good. Whereas mine's had a paint job, but it's still got I've done the dashboard in mine, but it's still got the 70s bits in it. which
Well, it's got you in it for starters.
That's true.
That's the biggest 70s bit in it, isn't it?
That's the problem. I need to upgrade that. I got my horn fixed.
Great.
I told you last episode that I broke it blaring at some muppet who pulled out in front of me.
Yeah.
And I would press the horn so much that it actually just one of the horns exploded. I think it just went. Well, when I say exploded, I think the wire just fizzled
died.
out. Yeah.
Is it Lucas by any chance?
It is Lucas. Yeah.
Funny that.
So I thought that I thought that's an easy job I can do myself. But you need hands of a gynecologist because the guys at British Leyland built it fit and forget. But it's in a box at the front of the engine, which is a bulkhead and then headlights. You have to put your hand inside the grille. You can't see what you're doing. So I gave it to Dan, my friendly, amazing classic car mechanic who lives in my town, and he sorted it out without breaking a sweat. He said it was one of his easiest jobs of the day, sort of thing. But annoyingly, it's something that was really simple because they're only just a couple of wires and but it's Lucas. So anyway, it's loud and I can beep it now.
We've got to talk about horns because I think horns on a classic car are always disappointing because you're angry with somebody pulls out in front of you and you shout at them and your horn goes beep.
Yeah, that's right.
And it really lets it down, doesn't it?
Annoyingly, this one's not as angry sounding as the last one.
Oh, right, okay.
So it's still loud.
Well, this is what we need to talk about because I know a manufacturer called Fiam Horns and they've got a website and we'll do this in the next episode. They've got a website that you can test the horns and some of them are brilliant.
The Tyre Kickers.
So the Rolls has been performing, it's done 500 miles and it's still under warranty, interestingly, so I've been hoping that something will fall off and break, and it hasn't. So I've taken it in for a service and I'm having the front brakes done, which isn't quite as expensive as I'd thought or worried about. I thought it was going to be massive, about 3 or 4 grand.
Yeah.
So far, front pads and discs is about 1,100 quid, which is actually not that bad.
That's all right, actually.
It's a complicated braking system.
Modern car, you'd probably spend the same, wouldn't you? Let's just hope they don't do anything more.
Well, I've asked them to look at the aircon pump, which is really noisy, and they said you can put a new aircon pump in as well, which is only 400 quid, but then you have to regas the aircon, so that's coming up to about 1,000. But I'm going to do that because the aircon pump really is noisy, and you should only hear the ticking clock on a silver.
Yeah, you were a bit reticent about putting it on when I was in the car, and I think a car like that, you don't want to be sweating in it. You need to be cool, don't you?
Exactly.
Talking about adding extra things on, I mean, I need to take my car in for a service because, as I say, it's done like 2,500, 3,000 miles. It's due a service now. It's been about a year. Do I add the extra list of stuff that I'd quite like done on it, though, Max, or do I just concentrate on the service and the couple of essential things that
You've got to tell them what to do, because otherwise they'll be hunting around your car, they'll take it apart, they'll go, well, we've taken it apart, sir, would you like a new chassis and a new engine?
It's not so much that, it's basically, I've got a list of, I've got obviously service I want done, and then I've got a list of a couple of things that I really need done. So, like, I need the belts changed.
Right.
And there's one more thing I need to do.
Well, we've got the belts off, sir. Could we just...
Well, it's not so much that. It's the then the wish list underneath that I'd quite like.
Which is what?
Well, it's more sort of, can you adjust this? Can you tighten this? Can you investigate this? And I just think if you start experiencing the past, if you start giving garages long lists of stuff...
You're giving them what effectively is carte blanche, aren't you? You're saying to the
you
garage,
are,
would you like to come up with a really fantastic overtime built for me?
Well, then you start taking it apart, and then you don't get your car back. So I think I'll stick with the service and just a couple of essential bits, get it back on the road. I think that's the trick.
You are listening to the Tyre Kickers. We are at Winchester Auto Barn. Now, we've just been sitting down chatting, and I'm like a child that needs to go to the toilet because I'm jumping around because there's some cars for sale here and some really nice cars for sale, starting with a Lamborghini Miura.
Yeah, we're very lucky they've allowed us to sit by the cars, but we couldn't see the rest of them. So we've come to this beautiful yellow Miura. It's on a K-plate. I don't know much about Miuras. I know it was an Italian job. That's about all I know about Miuras. Tell me more.
This was Rod Stewart's Lamborghini Miura because it's a right-hand drive. I think they only did 7 right-hand drives. And my goodness, this car is absolutely gorgeous.
Well, normally you don't get very close, but you are special, Max. So I've got the velvet rope here. Can you hear it?
Move the rope. Let's stand next to the car.
Your name's
well
down,
done.
you're coming in.
I'm walking in. I'm not going to touch it. There isn't a sign saying please do not touch, but I think that's kind of implicit. But look at this car. It's absolutely gorgeous. I'm just standing by the headlights with the eyebrows. It's so low. It's basically up to hip height.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of supercars, but this, classic supercars, wow, it is fantastic. It's in a bright, almost canary yellow with a black leather interior, which looks, you're almost like lying back in it, aren't you? It's almost horizontal. But what a beautiful car. It's a really, really stunning car.
Now, quickly, let's move down the line, because next door to it is a Ferrari 458 Speciale. Now, I've driven a 458, which is amazing. The Speciale is meant to be off the scale. Possibly the best handling car ever.
Yeah, I'm not bothered about that, so I'm moving on to the next one.
Oh, right. Do you not like these Ferraris? I do love a 458.
No, I'm not into Fiats.
Oh, God, here we go. And then there's a BMW 3-litre CSL. It's a UK right-hand drive city pack.
Yeah, it's really nice. These classic 70s BMWs are beautiful, aren't they? This is in silver. Really, really nice to it. But over next to it is something that gets a bit more of my eyesight. It's a 280 Mercedes on an H plate,
Can we just step back though to this E9 BMW Coupe, because it's a 3-litre CSL. It's the UK City Pack, so they only made 500 of these in right-hand drive, and they had various bits for the UK market, like electric windows. Matt's just pointing out the price, £129,000.
It is from my year of birth though, 1972, so that would make it a bit more. If I had 130 grand to drop on a BMW, I would be looking at this one, because it's quite nice to buy a car that's the same age as you, isn't it?
Yeah, clapped out.
Yeah, I mean you're looking pre-war rollers, aren't you?
Now this is your kind of thing. It's a 68 Merc 69 on an H, a 280 SE 3.5 convertible. Now I think Hugh Grant has got one of these, and this is gorgeous, dark blue, cream interior.
It's not got a price on it though. Is that a POA? It might be a POA.
Too much for you.
Yeah.
That's what it's going to say.
You forget how big these are, aren't you? Because obviously, compared to the Pagoda, which is sort of what we call a normal car size, they're wider and longer, aren't they? They're almost sort of limousine level sort of length and scale, aren't they? These cars.
Talking of which, just behind us is a 1989 Bentley Continental. Now come over to this, because this is the drop-top Elton John version of the Silver Shadow, and going there, it smells exactly like mine.
Oh, it does smell nice.
Lovely leather.
No, this is weird. Is this flash? Is it too flash?
I think anything that Elton John drives is probably quite flash, isn't it?
True.
And I think
That
they've
is
taken
true,
a Silver Shadow, cut the roof off, made it a 2-door, and made it a bit flasher. And this is 130,000 as well, because these Continentals, they're worth a lot more. It's
still a beautiful car, though, isn't it? And it's in a light blue paint job. Is that the same paint job that you got your roller in? Caribbean blue. Is it similar?
I think it might be, actually, yeah.
Yeah, that's nice. I mean, it's still a classy car, and a Bentley just makes it a little bit. It's just a little bit better than a roller, isn't it, a Bentley?
No. Right, let's move over to another Bentley Continental. This is a beautiful 2-door Continental from 1962. So this is the proper fastback Bentley Continental, and these are uber cool.
Yeah, this is a beauty, absolute beauty. This one, yeah, 1962. It's up for 275,000. 55,000 on the clock, auto 6.2 litre engine, and a 4-seater obviously as well. I mean, you could cruise down to the mythical south of France where you always want to go, Max.
Oh, definitely. And next to it is an MGB GT Coupe, which we've mentioned a couple of times, rubber bumper on a 1979. That's a very nice one.
Yes, it's only had 2 keepers from new, this, and it's a relatively low mileage. It's a 66,000 miles, and it's been a cherished car, and you can see it's pretty original road style wheels. It's got a rubber bumper, as you say, up until probably fairly recently people were a bit sniffy about rubber bumpers, but I think they're really coming into their own. I think this is one of the cars that if you're looking for an MGB is the best one you're going to find, I think, probably in the country. We've got some really nice cars here. We've got the Pagoda that we've mentioned, and we're mentioning all that throughout the show.
It's gorgeous. You can't beat a Pagoda. You and I are both Pagoda fans, and this one's lovely and straight down the side. It just looks so good, doesn't it, with the right amount of chrome on a Mercedes.
Yeah, it's a 1969. This has got 96,000 miles on it. It's been around, but I think it's obviously been restored. Silky smooth straight 6 engine with effortless gear changes is how it's described. Black foldaway hood and the hard top as well. Would you use the hard top, or would you just do what everybody does with hard tops and put it in your garage and trip up over it?
Just store it away in the garage. They never get used. Series 3 Land Rover, 1984, and another Mercedes. This is a 1967 Mercedes-Benz 300 SE Coupe. Actually, this is £68,000, and for a late 60s Merc, right-hand drive in gorgeous blue with a kind of grey interior. Oh, I like that.
Yeah, I really like that. I like these, and I like the saloon versions as well. I mean, it's a big old car, isn't it? It'd be like a barge driving down the road. You'd have to give yourself some space down country lanes, but I mean, what a fun thing to drive. But beautiful cars in here, Max. There's a nice Mini over there. There's another couple of sort of curios. There's an old tractor, lots of memorabilia. Come and have a look here, because even if these cars are at your price range, it's just lovely. It's like being in a museum, and you can go and have some breakfast or lunch at the same time. It's a really cool place. There's so much to look at. Looking around, there's an AA box over there, there's pinball machines, there's old signs, there's old road maps. It's lots and lots of memorabilia on the walls, loads of stuff here, and obviously people come here in their classic cars as well, so you can get a look at stuff. Right, well, that's enough for me. I think I need to sit down again.
You've been on your feet for about 5 minutes now. That's usually 5 minutes too long, isn't it? Right, let's go and sit down. You're listening to episode 59 of the Tyre Kickers, live from the Winchester Auto Barn. Now, when it comes to buying a classic, we do tend to spend hours agonising, and even more hours talking about it. Which is the right make, which is the right model, and what's the right colour?
Yeah, I mean, we're sat around in the showroom here, surrounded by some beautiful classic cars, which I'd find difficult to pick one. If I had the sort of budget that was all about the same of these cars, it would really be difficult. Would I pick the nicest colour? Would I pick the best model? Would I pick a more exclusive car? I'm not really sure. But the choices you make, does it say something about you? I mean, is there a deep meaning between why you want an Aston Martin or why you chose an Alvis? I mean, are you trying to impress someone, or does that not really apply here?
Now, if you look at the psychology, cars function as part of your extended self, in that people buy cars to reinforce how they see themselves and also how they'd like other people to see them.
Whoa. What's this science? Is this direct from Laboratoire Garnier, or have you got it off AI again?
No, this is real scientific science
really?
from people in lab coats. Now, cars are big status symbols, as we know, and people want to project how well they're doing. Now, remember when we talked about 1990s repmobiles and how much importance people attach to the gear or the GLS or the HLS badge on a car? That's what it's about. Status matters.
Yeah, it does in daily cars. I'm not quite sure it does quite so much in classics. I mean, I think people look at the value of their cars as well. I mean, I like the quality engineering and reliability of your car, the Mercedes, not so much my Stag. But I appreciate the quality of that. It's not just about the image of that. I mean, for you, it's the Dallas car, isn't it? Or it's
the Bobby Ewing car, yeah.
Yeah, it's the closest you're going to get to that. So maybe for that little moment you're in it. But do you buy it for that? I don't think you bought your car for that reason, did you? Because it looked flash. Because the SL is the California pin-up car, isn't it? It's the if you want to look cool in a classic car. And certainly online, I would say if we need to do some filming with your car actually, because we just need to get you on a coastal road, get you out of the car, put somebody better looking in, and then film it in slow motion, because that would go ping, ping, ping on social media, because that car looks wow. Did you buy it because of that? I don't think you did you?
Do you know, I think it's a complicated reason. It's lots of reasons why you buy a classic car. One of them for me is which car you saw when you were growing up on the TV. Now, particularly the two cars I've bought, the Rolls-Royce Silver Shadow, I mean, that was on the TV throughout the 70s
comedians,
and 80s.
Yeah.
Exactly. The same with the Merc SL. That was all over TV and film in the 70s and 80s, wasn't it? And I think that might have imprinted something on my brain, that it just looked sunny and Californian and successful, and everybody in their SL was having a good time. So I wonder whether psychologically I lodged that and thought, I want to have a good time in the sunshine, that's the right car for me.
Whereas mine, I bought a car that I sat in when I was about 11 years old or something in somebody's garage, so that's imprinted on me, and that's why I want that car for a little period of time in my life, just to enjoy it and see what it was like and see what they were having, what was happening in the 70s. I now know in the 70s it was a little bit clattery, maybe the build quality wasn't that great, but it still sounds good. So I think I bought it from that. Did I buy a Stag though to kind of show off? I don't think I did. I'm pretty sure it didn't. I don't think it's an impressive car. It doesn't pull. It doesn't help me pulling. Those days are long gone. That ship has sailed.
Nothing could help me pulling.
The only people it pulls are old blokes in garages who go, I have one of those.
Partly then it's successful, isn't it? In that sense.
Isn't it? Well, you've got to take what you can. but I didn't buy it to,
I think you're slightly wrong on that, because I think the car in the Stag is a slightly look-at-me car. People do notice it, and people do hear it. That's the good thing about the Stag. You hear it coming. It's a head-turner. It's definitely a head-turner, because you hear it and you see it. So I think it is a slightly attention-seeking car.
I don't think, not in a...
Which kind of blends with what I think about
See,
it.
I drive a BMW convertible during the day, and I drive that at the weekends. And I think a BMW convertible, I think that looks flash to people. And
Well,
they don't wave at you. Whereas in mine,
Well,
they
do,
just
with two
think,
fingers.
they think, what's that weird old car? Because most people, bear in mind now, aren't car people anymore. They drive laptops on wheels, don't they? So they drive grey laptops on wheels.
Oh, incisive social commentary.
There we go. Bit of politics. Bit of politics. But and they see my car, so they're curious because it's an old car, and then they think, look at that sad old man driving it. They're not thinking, wow, he's won the lottery. It's not. You don't look at it thinking you've won the lottery. And I think a supercar is a look-at-me car. If I went and bought a 10-year-old McLaren or something, people would go, oh, that's a look-at-me car. Whereas I think our cars, they make people smile, don't they, when they go down the road?
They do make people smile, and I think that's part of the psychology, is actually you want to have a nice time, because driving is so boring now, isn't it? You just get in your box and you press go, and it takes you exactly where you need to go with aircon and comfort. Driving's so dull. I think part of the reasons we're buying classic cars as well is the excitement. We want to hark back to a time where we were freer, there was less responsibilities. The car isn't telling you off all the time, which is common now.
Yeah, and a couple of episodes ago, I did that thing where I went and talked to young drivers about what will get young drivers into driving classic cars, and there was an overriding theme that they said, well, our lives are very digital, I want something analogue.
Yeah.
And driving my Mini where there's nothing in there, there's no screens, there's no assistant control, there's no ESP, traction control, all that sort of stuff. I have to feel the car, I have to concentrate and I drive it, and I disconnect and I feel that car, and there's something visceral about feeling that car. And I think that's why we do it. But what does it say about us, and why do we do it? We're not buying that Mini, I'm not buying that Stag to have a midlife crisis in it.
That's what you might think.
Well, to be honest, it started about 10 years ago, and it wasn't that exciting, so I've just kind of rode it out.
I don't like with modern cars, you are trying to project an image. I think with classic cars, you are trying to project some kind of image, but I think mainly it's, I want to go and enjoy myself. I want to have a laugh. For example, when we were coming here today, I got up this morning and thought, great, I'm going to get my car out of the garage, I'm going to put the roof down, I'm going to drive to see you, every cloud, and then we can have a good time in our cars, talking about our cars, enjoying them, and I'm not being interrupted by a screen, I'm not interrupted by phone calls, for example. Yeah. And it's kind of now, the psychology is, I'm reserving classic cars for days when I want to be happy.
Yeah, because the journey here was an event, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was great.
If we'd have just come in our daily cars, it would just been a process to get here. So there's that, that's why we do it. But also the other reason for buying a classic car, it's not to show off to the neighbours, it's to buy a ticket into a world, isn't it?
Exactly, which is just what I was about to say about you, because you like to chat, as probably people have realised by now, and so that is part of the social side of it, isn't it? Because it's a reason to have a talk to people.
Of course it is, and it gets you a ticket into going to car meets. Anybody can go to car meets, and it is a very open democratic world, really, because anybody can turn up to a classic car meet, and anybody could buy any sort of car and turn up to a classic car meet. They could buy your favourite car, a Morris Minor, or they could buy an MGB. We've sat next to an MGB rubber bumpers. You can pick these up for like under £5,000, and you could take that along to every single car show, and you'd be welcome. But it's a ticket into a world, and it gives you something to talk about. That's why I bought a classic car. I didn't suddenly wake up one morning and thought, do you know what? I think the neighbours will think I'm cooler if I drive a classic car.
A car's not going to do that for you.
I think there's an element though now with Instagram and social media, people are seeing classic cars on there, and certainly like SLs and like those classic cars are seen in they're shot in a certain way, aren't they, to make them look luxury. Yeah. The reality is when they go and buy that MGB and start it up, it's like this isn't.
Enjoy the hard shoulder.
Well, enjoy the strained shoulder, trying to change the gears and move it about. So, I just don't think classic cars are the sort of the level we're at. I don't think we're buying them to show off.
What you're also trying to do, I think, slightly is regress. Because I know I can go and sit in my garage, I can be devoid of any people, I can fiddle about with the classic car, I can take some screws off, put some screws back on, and it just gives me that peace and quiet that you're kind of looking for in a certain point in midlife.
Middle-aged blokes like something to obsess about, and they like something to think about. Oh, maybe if I upgraded the stereo to sound a bit better. Maybe if do I need to check the oil? Oh, I need to buy some new horn bits for it. Oh, I need to book it in with a garage. I need to talk to Max about such and such. Do you know, it gives us something to do. That's the reason for doing it. I don't think we're trying to flex.
See, that's interesting, because there is a stereotype here, because I used to have a couple of Porsches, as you know, and actually in the Porsche clubs there was that showing off. Yeah, so that brand did attract a lot of showing off, and people would quite quickly start talking about money, because I wanted to go there for a conversation about 944s and product numbers, and actually they would start talking about money quite quickly, and that was disappointing.
Just to change the subject. Yeah, if you find that happens quite a lot. But I think the other thing to say about this, Max, is if you're buying a classic car to impress people, 90% of people will find what you're talking about very, very boring. They're not interested in that car unless it's a pretty car and it's a nice colour. That's for most people what they look at.
I think it's a very interesting point about supercars, because that kind of was what I was thinking about at the beginning of this, because you buy supercars to show off, don't you? You're tearing up and down, parts of Knightsbridge with the tyres on fire, trying to show off to people. And that is very definitely showing off. Is it the same with a kind of 10 grand MGB or a 20 grand Stag or a 30 grand Mercedes SL? I don't think so.
No, I don't think so.
I'm not trying to project anything, I think, apart from just regressing slightly to childhood.
If you were trying to show off, you would buy, a near perfect Rolls-Royce Silver Shadow, wouldn't you? Because that's the sort of,
meaning
if you were trying to kind of impress the neighbours in the Cotswolds.
That is part of the Silver Shadow, is the two fingers to people. Because when I was a kid growing up, if you bought a Silver Shadow, you were showing off. You were saying to the neighbours, ooh, look at me.
Yeah.
No, but there is a part of the Silver Shadow which is showing off.
Yes, it is.
And that's kind of why I bought it, because I like that part.
To car people, though, to us, it's not. We're curious about it, aren't we? Because it's like, my God, that car was like £100,000, and you now pick them up for 10 grand. The amount of fun you could have.
You don't. I tried.
Well, no, I know you
couldn't
tried
get that far.
Yeah, but the fact that to us it's a curio, isn't it? Because to us that was untouchable, isn't it? when we were growing up.
Absolutely. It was
You know,
forbidden fruit.
It was forbidden fruit, and you wouldn't even get a ride in the back of it unless you knew someone who had one. In fact, I sat in one actually in somebody's garage who was very rich in the 80s, a family friend. And they had one, and they had a chauffeur that drove it.
Okay.
You know, which was I was disappointed when I got into you. Didn't open the door. I didn't get the same level of service.
I didn't even want you in there. To be honest.
That's right. Yeah. But no, to us it's a curio. But I think your Rolls-Royce Silver Shadow would still look flash when you drove it down the street. They'd think, "Who's that bloke?"
I don't think it looks flash. I think it's gone post. It's post-flash. It's post-wedding. I think it's now becoming slightly more.
I don't know.
Cool.
I think it's still.
Is it kind of ironic? That's what I'm trying to argue.
No, I think it's fine. I don't think you know. So I know you're not doing it for those reasons, but I think when people come down the road, they would look and go, "Is that somebody famous?" And then they'd see you and go, "No, it's not."
I mean, I do. Part of me quite likes the flash side of the Shadow. I'd be a liar if I didn't say I've always wanted a Rolls Royce to be slightly flash, but that's kind of a tiny part of it. That's kind of like 10%.
I think, joking aside, I think enjoy that because that's part of the experience of owning it, isn't it? Yeah, it's part of the fun, isn't it? It's part of that. I shouldn't, as you say, forbidden fruit. That sums up quite well. I'm sitting in a Rolls Royce Silver Shadow, which you had to be a millionaire to drive. You know, back in the 70s, you couldn't touch it. Whereas now I'm sitting in it, I'm enjoying it, and I'm taking it down the garden centre.
And I think that's one of the things that's good about classics now, because if I turned up in a new Rolls Royce, that's making lots of value judgments about me. If I turn up in a vintage Rolls Royce, I think it's a bit more ironic. It's a bit more actually, you're trying to appreciate the past. It's a great piece of engineering, as I know, because I'm paying for the brakes to being done at the minute.
Yeah,
and so you kind of enjoy that part of history.
Yeah, you're not buying the brand, are you? You're buying the experience, the history.
Yeah.
You know, it's in the same way that buying a pre-war one would be fun. I mean, you'd have to arm wrestle it a bit more to get down the road. But yeah, if you turn up in the new one, then you're just turning up in a modern car.
What's come out of this discussion is that actually if you don't want people to identify who you are, a classic car is the answer, because modern cars have lots of value judgments with them, whereas with a classic, you're actually outside of that.
Yeah, unless we've got this completely wrong. Let us know what you think. Did you buy your car to flex a bit, to show off? Did you have the neighbours come and said, "Oh, have you won the lottery?" You know, has it got that reaction? Or do people, when I start talking about a car, they glaze over and walk away? Not
That's
really
not
that
the car.
interested.
That's not the car. That's just
I
you.
get my car in and out of the garage quite a lot, and the neighbours don't hop on the over and say hello. You know, they're not interested. They're not car people. I get people stop occasionally and say, "Oh, I had one of those." Da 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 da. But it's not really. I'm not pulling it out to grab attention. Yeah, let us know what you think, because we have our views on this. We're really, really interested to hear yours. There's a couple of ways to get in touch. You can do email. You can find that on our links, or you can get in touch via our social media, and here's how.
You can find us at the Tyre Kickers UK on Instagram and the Tyre Kickers on Facebook.
So that's it for this episode here at the Winchester Auto Barn. Look them up if you fancy a drive out. It's definitely worth a trip.
Yeah, we're sat next to the restaurant. We're going to get some lunch in a minute. And Max, you're paying. Anyway, next time we're back in the studio and looking at the Jag Mark II Saloon. Is it the E-Type if you have a family or more than one mate?
I think I've forgotten my wallet. Anyway, they're probably about as cheap as they're ever going to get. Is it time to snap one up, put some tights on your face and go rob a bank?
Get in touch with us about anything you've heard us talk about today, and we will see you on the next episode back in the studio when we turn 60.
Goodbye.
Bye.
You've been listening to the Tyre Kickers with Footman James. We share your passion.
I'd be a bit reluctant to put LEDs on. It might just change the look of the face of the car. What do you think?
Yeah, I was just hoping you were going to read the paragraph.
Oh, right, okay.